The morning sun rose over the quiet vacation town as Emma called, "Luna, come back!" Her voice cracked with fear. The family's beloved cat had slipped from the car in the chaos of unpacking. Luna darted across the parking lot, startled by the sound of luggage hitting the ground. She froze as a car sped past, the wind whipping her fur. Emma's father shouted, "Stay back, it's not safe," but his words were drowned out by the roar of engines. Luna's small body trembled, her bright eyes wide with panic. The scent of gasoline mixed with sea air as she bolted into the street. A truck horn blared, forcing her to leap toward the curb. Emma gasped, covering her mouth with trembling hands. "Please don't let her be hurt," she whispered. Luna's paw slipped on the slick pavement, leaving a faint scratch. Her heart pounded, torn between the safety of her family's voices and the overwhelming terror of the strange world around her. In one swift moment, she vanished into a maze of narrow alleys, leaving the family's desperate cries behind. The alley smelled of damp concrete and stale food. Luna crouched low, ears twitching with every sound. Her heart raced, pounding louder than her paws against the pavement. She whispered a soft meow, hoping Emma might hear, but only the echo of dripping pipes answered. Fear closed in, the shadows taller than her small body. Her whiskers quivered as a bottle rolled nearby. She pressed herself against a dumpster, eyes darting between faint lights at the far end. Her mind burned with the memory of Emma's voice, the one safe sound she longed to find again. The streets roared with unfamiliar noises. Horns, voices, and the shuffle of strangers overwhelmed Luna. She darted past shoes and legs nearly trampled. Her claws scraped against rough stone as she scrambled toward a faint opening between buildings. Above her, neon signs blinked, buzzing harshly. The world was louder and harsher than anything she had known. A man cursed as she brushed past his ankle, and she bolted faster, her breath sharp and ragged. She thought of Emma's gentle hands, the warmth of her lap, and pushed forward through the chaos. Luna stopped at a corner, her sides heaving. The sounds of the city echoed like thunder. She crouched low, tail curled tightly. A dog barked in the distance, and her ears twitched. She longed for the calm sound of Emma's laughter. Instead, only cold wind brushed past her fur, carrying the smell of smoke and trash. She took a step forward, her paws trembling on the cracked sidewalk. Shadows stretched long across the walls, and she shivered, whispering a low meow that vanished in the noise. As the night deepened, the city grew colder. Luna slipped beneath a wooden bench near a bus stop, curling tightly against the metal frame. Her small body shook as exhaustion overcame her. Above, people passed without notice, their voices distant. She closed her eyes, but the sound of Emma's voice lingered, sharp and clear in her memory. A single tear streaked Emma's face in her mind, and Luna whispered a soft cry, a fragile sound lost in the endless hum of the city. The night dragged on, but Luna's heart would not rest. She dreamed of Emma's warm arms, the gentle way her hands traced circles over her fur. "Luna, my brave girl," Emma had once said, her voice sweet as summer wind. The memory lingered in Luna's mind, softer than the cold ground beneath her belly. She thought of the little girl's laughter, the way it rose like bells when they played hide and seek in the garden. The faint scent of lavender shampoo clung to Emma's hair whenever Luna curled in her lap. She remembered the father's steady voice calling her name, his hand always steady when offering food. She remembered the mother's soft humming while preparing meals, the safe rhythm of family life. The city around her was sharp and merciless, but her memories pulled her closer to hope. Her heart whispered, "If I can find them, I will never be alone again." The memory shifted to a sunny afternoon when Luna chased butterflies through tall grass. Emma clapped her small hands, shouting, "Faster, Luna, faster!" Her laughter filled the air like music. Luna darted, paws light and quick, chasing the fragile wings. She remembered the warmth of the sun on her back, the sound of the father's voice telling Emma, "She's got energy like you." The mother leaned on the porch rail, smiling with soft eyes. That day, The world was safe and kind, and Luna had no fear. Her whiskers twitched with longing as she recalled the sweetness of belonging. Even in the heavy silence of the city, she could almost hear the garden buzzing with bees, the birds perched above singing. These were the bonds she could never forget, the threads pulling her back home. Another memory rose, a stormy evening when thunder shook the house. Emma had hidden under her blanket, whispering, "Luna, don't leave me." Luna crept close, pressing her warm body against the trembling child. Lightning split the sky, but Emma's small hand stroked her fur with trust. The father stood at the doorway, speaking softly, "It will pass soon." The mother carried a lantern, her face calm, though worry lingered in her eyes. Together, they formed a circle of comfort around the girl and her cat. Luna purred, her sound steady against the roar outside. That night, she had learned what it meant to protect, to be more than a pet. She became Emma's shield against the storm. The memory burned bright in her chest, reminding her that love was stronger than fear, even in the darkest of nights. In the quiet of the alley, Luna's whiskers trembled as her mind replayed the image of her red collar. It had always been Emma's gift, a symbol of belonging. She remembered the day Emma placed it gently around her neck, saying, "Now you're really ours." The collar shone bright, tiny silver bell jingling whenever Luna ran. It had been worn during every adventure, every game, every night curled in the girl's bed. Now, without it, she felt bare, as though part of her heart had been left behind. She crouched low, her eyes glimmering in the weak streetlight. Her longing was more powerful than fear. The world outside pressed cruelly against her, but the bond of that collar reminded her she was not truly lost. It was the sound of belonging she would follow until the end. Luna closed her eyes, her body tense, yet inside her grew a spark of determination. She would not let the city break her spirit. She thought of Emma's laughter, of the way her family called her name in voices filled with love. "I will find them," her heart declared. For every shadow, there was memory of light. For every cruel sound, there was the echo of kindness she had known. She rose to her paws, her body weary, but her spirit strong. The night would not last forever, and the dawn would bring another chance. She stepped from beneath the bench, tail raised slightly higher, eyes fixed on the distant horizon. The journey would be long, but the bond between her and her family was unbreakable. Her hope, once fragile, now burned steady, guiding her through the unknown. Morning thinned into a gray noon as Luna crept along the market's edge, nose twitching at the smell of fried fish and oil. Vendors shouted prices, carts rattled, and her paws flinched at every clang that broke the air like glass. A boy kicked a can, and it spun toward her with a rattle that made her dart behind a crate. Jake said, "Scram, cat, go steal somewhere else," his words snapping like a broom that never missed. The sun burned white on metal roofs, and heat shimmered, but the alley felt cold against her belly. She peered toward a stall where skins hung like flags and thought of Emma's gentle hands that never struck. Mark said, "She comes when she's ready," and Olivia said, "Give her room," voices echoing from memory's safer rooms. Hunger clawed harder than fear and pulled her back to the smells that promised scraps if she was brave. A vendor dropped fish guts, and the crowd lurched, and Luna slid closer, whiskers forward, body low and quiet. A scooter backfired like thunder, and she flattened, heart drumming, then inched again toward the shadowed pile of skins. She did not belong here, but her hope kept walking, one trembling step at a time toward what might keep her alive. The warning came on the wind before she saw them, a sharp chorus of barks that sliced along the alley's tin spines. A tan dog surged from a gap, ribs showing, eyes fixed and hungry, and a black dog followed, swift and low. Luna pivoted, claws biting grit, and bolted toward a chain-link fence that trembled in the heat. Her paws hammered a stuttering rhythm, while hot breath chased her tail like flames. Somewhere a man laughed and Vince said, "Get her, is just a rat with whiskers," and stone scraped under his boots. The tan dog lunged and snapped air where her tail had been a blink before, teeth clacking like castanets. She slid under a dangling tarp, sprang, and clawed upward, metal biting her pads while she climbed. The fence sang and shook, and rust rained sparks, yet she hauled herself higher, body stretched and shaking. Emma said, "You can do it," from a corner of memory that smelled of laundry and lemonade. She slipped over the top, dropped hard, and stumbled, but the ground held, and the barking faltered behind her. She ran again because fear has wheels, and hope, though small, still had feet. Her belly growled so loudly she thought the world might hear. She limped through the clutter of trash bins, sniffing for scraps. The smell of old bread and spoiled meat turned her stomach, yet hunger pressed her forward. She pawed at a torn paper bag and found a crust, hard and bitter, but she chewed anyway. A rat darted past, making her fur spike in alarm, but she held her ground. The memory of Emma placing a bowl of warm milk in front of her burned bright against the taste of filth. She swallowed, forcing herself to live another hour. A bottle shattered nearby, thrown by unseen hands, and she flinched, eyes darting. A man's voice muttered, "Vermin," and boots thudded away. She tucked closer to the bins, shivering in fear but unwilling to move. The street above roared with noise, but down here survival was silent, dirty, and cruel. The alley narrowed, walls pressing close, when a figure appeared at the end. A man with hollow eyes and unshaven face bent to pick up a rock. He sneered, "Filthy stray," and hurled it with careless force. The stone skidded inches from her paw, clattering loud against metal. She hissed, back arched, fur bristling like sparks. His laughter followed, cruel and hollow, as he picked up another. She bolted, claws scraping, body weaving between shadows. The second rock struck a can and rang like a bell, echoing as she sprinted. She remembered Emma's voice whispering, "You're safe with me," and that whisper steadied her paws. Her chest heaved as she tore into another street, heart pounding faster than her paws could carry. Behind her, the man's voice faded, yet the sting of cruelty stayed. The city was not just indifferent. It was unkind. Exhaustion pressed on her body like chains as she limped into a dark corner. Her paw ached from the scrape on wet pavement earlier. She curled against a broken crate, chest heaving, every breath sharp. Shadows whispered of danger, but her eyelids drooped. She dreamed of Emma's laughter, of the safe weight of the girl's arms, and for a moment she felt warmth again. A soft mule escaped her, half prayer, half ache. Above, the city raged with horns and sirens, but none reached her quiet hiding place. She whispered to herself in silence, "Hold on." Even with fear clawing at her chest, she refused to give in. In that fragile moment of rest, she carried her hope like a flame, small but still burning against the dark. The alley air shifted with a faint sound, a weak mule that did not belong to her. Luna froze, ears flicking, eyes wide as the cry came again, fragile as wind. She padded forward, nose twitching at the sour scent of milk gone bad and damp cardboard. In the shadow of a dumpster, a small kitten huddled, fur tangled, body trembling. Its ribs showed through thin skin, eyes watery with fear. Luna crept closer, tail low, and the kitten hissed weakly, a sound more of exhaustion than threat. Emma's voice echoed in her memory, "She's gentle, she won't hurt anyone." Luna lowered herself, paws pressed softly into the grit, and released a soft purr. The kitten's tiny body shook, but its eyes fixed on her, clinging to the sound. She realized in that moment she was not alone. The city's cruelty had left another soul stranded, and her instinct to protect overpowered her fear. She leaned closer, brushing her nose against the trembling form, and the kitten's mule softened. A spark of companionship lit between them, fragile but bright against the dark. The kitten pressed closer, its frail body trembling as it leaned against her. Luna curled slightly around him, shielding him from the cold. A bottle rolled nearby, and his head jerked in fear, but her body stayed firm. She purred louder, steady and rhythmic, anchoring his fragile heartbeat. Emma's memory spoke, "She always takes care of the small ones." For the first time since she was lost, Luna felt a new purpose. Survival was no longer just for her. The kitten let out a faint cry, softer now, as though trust was beginning to bloom. Luna licked the top of his tangled fur, her rough tongue combing gently. He blinked up at her, eyes heavy with fatigue, yet softened by comfort. The city still howled beyond the alley, but here in this fragile bond, she felt strength grow. She whispered in silence to herself, "We will not give up." It was not only hope anymore, it was responsibility, a promise she silently vowed to keep. A shuffle of footsteps broke the moment, and Luna's ears snapped back. From the mouth of the alley, a young woman appeared, holding a basket of scraps. Her hair was tied in a messy bun, her eyes tired but kind. She spotted the two cats and froze, her lips parting in surprise. Slowly, she crouched, voice soft. "It's all right, I won't hurt you." Luna hissed low, body shielding the kitten, but the woman's gaze held no cruelty. Instead, she set the basket down and slid a piece of bread across the ground. The smell reached Luna, and her stomach twisted with hunger. But she hesitated. The woman whispered again, her tone gentle, "You're safe now." The kitten whimpered, drawn toward the food, and Luna's protective growl faded. Her eyes locked with the woman's, searching, uncertain. Something in the warmth of her face reminded her of Emma, of trust she thought she had lost. The alley felt less cruel for a single heartbeat. The woman slid the basket closer, her hands steady, though her knees pressed against the rough ground. She whispered, "You must be starving." Luna's nostrils flared at the scent of fish bones and bread. The kitten crawled forward with trembling paws, hunger stronger than fear. Luna followed, tense but watching the woman's every movement. Emma's memory whispered, "Trust takes time." The woman's eyes softened further as she watched Luna protect the kitten, her lips curving in a small smile. "You're a fighter, aren't you?" she said. For a moment, Luna did not feel like prey or vermin. She felt seen. The kitten devoured scraps eagerly, crumbs clinging to his fur. Luna allowed herself a bite, the taste filling her empty belly with fragile warmth. The woman stayed still, respecting their space, and in her silence was compassion. It was the first kindness Luna had known since she was lost. As Luna licked the last crumbs from her whiskers, the woman spoke softly, "You must belong to someone." Her eyes scanned the colorless cat, lingering on the scar that marked her past. She pulled a small notepad from her pocket, scribbling something before tucking it away. Her gaze flicked with recognition, as though she had seen Luna before. A whisper escaped her lips, "They've been looking for you." The words stilled Luna's body, her ears pricking high, eyes locked on the human. In that fragile silence, the truth unfolded. She was not just a stray. She had a family, and they had never stopped searching. Emma's voice filled her memory with warmth. "We'll never let you go." Luna's chest swelled, a surge of hope pushing against the exhaustion. She realized then her journey had a path, and it led back to love. For the first time in days, her spirit felt unbroken. The night grew heavy as Luna guided the kitten through darkened streets, their paws quiet against the wet stone. But a new sound broke the silence, metal cages rattling, dragged by rough hands. A man in a torn coat stepped into the light, his eyes sharp, his mouth twisting with greed. "Strays fetch coin," he muttered, tossing a rope across his shoulder. Luna froze, tail bristling, as the kitten whimpered behind her. His boots struck the pavement with heavy rhythm, and his net dangled like a spider's web, ready to ensnare. Fear coiled in Luna's chest, but her body stepped forward, shielding the kitten with her frame. She hissed, teeth bared, a sound sharper than broken glass. The man chuckled, voice low and mocking, "Brave little thing, but you'll fight in my cage." The street lamp flickered above, shadows stretching, and Luna felt the world narrow to this one battle. The man lunged forward, swinging the net with careless cruelty. Luna darted left, claws skittering on the pavement, her tail whipping as she moved. The net grazed her flank, threads scratching her fur, but she twisted free. The kitten yowled in terror, pressed flat to the ground. The man laughed. "You'll make it worth my time," and stepped closer. Luna arched high, hissed, and leapt at his boots, claws flashing. He cursed, stumbling, but steadied quickly. His eyes darkened, crueler now, as he reached for a stone. Luna growled low, her body trembling yet unyielding, heart racing faster than her paws. Emma's voice echoed in memory. "She's stronger than she looks." Every muscle in her body burned with resolve. The kitten pressed against her side, small mews rising like pleas, but she stood taller, refusing to bend. Rain began to fall, droplets hissing against the hot pavement. The man raised the stone, his face twisted in fury. Luna leapt, claws flashing, striking his arm with desperate force. He shouted in pain, dropping the stone to the ground with a heavy crack. The kitten scrambled beneath a broken crate, eyes glowing wide in the dark. The man roared, swinging the net again, but Luna dodged, water spraying as her paws slapped the wet street. The storm grew heavier, lightning tearing the sky in jagged streaks. Thunder shook the buildings, but Luna's cry rose above it all, fierce and defiant. Emma's laughter replayed in her mind, the warmth of home burning against the storm. The man's breath grew ragged, his steps heavier, his anger louder. But Luna did not yield. This was not just survival, it was war. Suddenly, another figure appeared through the storm. It was the same young woman who had offered food, her jacket soaked, but her eyes blazing. She shouted, "Leave them!" Her voice cracked through thunder, sharp as lightning itself. The man snarled, "They're mine," but she stepped closer, holding a flashlight that cut through the rain. "You hurt them, and I'll have the police here in minutes," she warned. The man faltered, anger boiling in his face, but her steady gaze held firm. Luna crouched low, fur plastered, her eyes locked between man and savior. The kid pressed closer, hope flickering like a weak flame. The woman's presence was a wall of protection, unyielding and strong. For the first time, Luna's trembling eased. This battle was not hers alone anymore. The man's shoulders sagged as the rain poured harder, his grip loosening on the cage. With a final glare he muttered, "Not worth it," and disappeared into the storm's shadows. The woman rushed forward, kneeling near Luna, her voice soft now. "It's over, you're safe." Luna staggered, her body shaking, every muscle exhausted. The kitten mewed weakly, tucking against her side. The woman's eyes glistened with relief as she whispered, "You're braver than most people I know." Luna's chest heaved, and she lowered her head, collapsing onto the wet pavement. The storm softened into drizzle, raindrops glowing in the lamplight. Though her body gave way, her spirit burned bright. She had fought, she had protected, and now she had been saved. The world blurred around her, but hope remained steady in her heart. The storm passed, leaving the streets washed clean, though silence weighed heavy. Luna stirred awake on a soft blanket, her body wrapped in warmth. She blinked and saw white walls, shelves of bottles, and the hum of quiet machines. A soft hand stroked her fur, and the young woman whispered, "You're safe now, little fighter." The kitten nestled against her side, belly full and eyes closed. Luna's paws twitched with faint memory of the alley, but the sharp scent of medicine and the calm light steadied her. She realized this was no cage, no trap. It was a place of healing. Emma's memory warmed her mind, the way the girl whispered, "Rest, Luna, rest." The exhaustion lifted little by little, as her breath slowed. Though she bore scars and fatigue, her spirit felt lighter, and she knew the battle had not broken her. Days passed, and the kitten found comfort in a new beginning. A family entered, voices bright and eyes kind. A young boy knelt, laughing as the kitten pawed at his shoelace. His mother lifted him carefully, her smile tender. The shelter worker nodded with relief, whispering, "He's going to a home." Luna watched, chest tight, but she purred softly, sensing the kitten's future was safe. Though parting ached, she knew this was right. Emma's memory whispered, "She protects because she loves." The kitten turned once, eyes bright with gratitude, before vanishing into warm arms. Luna closed her eyes, heart heavy yet proud. She had saved him, and now he would never face the dark alone. Luna's strength returned with each sunrise. The woman brought her bowls of food, hands steady and kind. "You fought so hard," she whispered, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Luna ate slowly, her body mending with every bite. The scar above her eye gleamed faintly in the light, a reminder of her journey. She stretched her legs, testing her strength, and purred with new vigor. The woman smiled, relief softening her tired eyes. Emma's memory rose like sunlight. She always comes back stronger. Luna pressed her head gently into the woman's hand, acknowledging the bond of trust. Though this was not home, it was a step closer, and hope stirred steady in her chest. One evening, voices filled the shelter with excitement. A notice board was covered in missing pet flyers, and the woman pinned a new one among them. Luna lifted her head, ears pricking, as the sound of paper rustled. The woman whispered, "They've been searching for you." The flyer showed a smiling girl, holding Luna in her arms, her blonde hair bright in the sun. Emma's voice rang in memory, "We'll never stop looking." Luna's chest swelled, her heart racing. She pressed against the glass of her enclosure, eyes wide, tail flicking with urgency. For the first time, the path back to her family seemed real, not just memory. The woman smiled softly, whispering, "Soon." The night before reunion, Luna curled into her blanket, but her dreams were filled with light. She saw Emma running across the grass, arms open, calling her name. She heard the laughter of her family, their voices rising like music. The shelter was quiet, but her spirit was loud with hope. She licked her paw slowly, cleaning the dust from her fur, preparing herself for the day she would be whole again. Her scar no longer felt like weakness, but a mark of survival. "Tomorrow," her heart whispered, "tomorrow I will find them." She closed her eyes, purring low, steady and strong, the sound carrying into the silence like a promise. The shelter door creaked open as footsteps hurried in. Emma burst inside, her eyes wide with hope, blonde hair bouncing as she ran. Her parents followed close, their faces flushed with relief. The woman from the shelter smiled, pointing toward the enclosure. Emma cried out, "Luna!" Her voice rang like music in the quiet room. Luna leapt to her paws, ears high, heart pounding at the familiar sound. The glass between them seemed too much, a wall between love and belonging. Emma pressed her hands against it, tears spilling, whispering, "We found you." Luna meowed, tail lashing, her body trembling with joy. The shelter worker unlocked the enclosure, her hands steady, but eyes glistening. As the door opened, Luna bolted forward, paws quick, leaping into Emma's arms. The girl gasped, hugging tight, her tears soaking into soft fur. "I missed you so much," Emma whispered, her voice shaking with joy. Her father knelt, stroking Luna's head, murmuring, "You're home now." Her mother pressed a hand to her mouth, her smile trembling. Luna purred deep, the sound echoing like a heartbeat across the room. She was no longer lost. Luna pressed her face into Emma's shoulder, breathing in the familiar scent of lavender shampoo. The girl giggled through tears. "She remembers me." Her father laughed softly, though his voice cracked with emotion. The shelter worker said gently, "She never stopped waiting." Luna's scar caught the light, a mark of survival, but Emma only kissed it, whispering, "You're perfect." The family held her close, their arms weaving around her like a promise. For Luna, the world felt whole again. The family walked outside together, Luna cradled in Emma's arms. The sunlight washed the streets in gold, the storm of past days, now a memory fading behind them. Luna blinked at the world, no longer hostile but bright with promise. Emma whispered, "You're coming home," her words soft as a vow. The car door opened, and she climbed inside, settling Luna safely on her lap. Her father started the engine, her mother turned to smile, and Luna purred steadily. Every turn of the wheels carried her closer to home, closer to love. That night, Luna curled on the soft bed she once knew, Emma beside her under the covers. The house smelled of safety, warm bread, and love. Her scar no longer felt like a wound, but a badge of courage. Emma whispered, "You're home forever," her small hand resting on Luna's back. Purring deep and steady, Luna closed her eyes, her journey complete. Outside, the moon shone silver, casting gentle light across the window. For the first time since being lost, she slept in peace.